Hey, Tommy from the Run Testers. In this video, we are going to be talking about running shoes coming out in 2025. So we're going to be talking through shoes that we think might be coming out or hope are going to be coming out over the next 12 months and talking about the ones that we're most excited about. The shoes that we're talking about in this video, we don't really have any insight into the release date of them or if indeed they are going to get released. This is purely speculative excitement around shoes that we hope will appear over the next 12 months. This is also the podcast, so if you're planning on listening to the podcast, then don't watch this video. Right, let's dive in and see what we're looking forward to in 2025. So we're coming to the end of 2024. Great year for shoes. Some fantastic releases, and as Nick keeps telling us. But 2025 is going to be here very soon, and there is a lot of shoes that we've heard about possibly getting released. A few websites have talked about release schedules for shoes, and shoes that maybe we don't know about yet, but we would probably guess that there would be a new version of them coming out. So, guys, what are we excited about in 2025 in the running shoe world? Let's start off with, I'll break this down to categories so that we're not just throwing shoes left, right, and centre. Let's start with race shoes. Nick, what race shoes are you excited about in 2025?
There's a few. I think I'll probably go with the ones that have been confirmed. So I think a lot of shoes get confirmed at the running event in Texas, which we've not been able to go to yet. Our emails are open for invites for sure. But so a few there. I think the one that really stands out to me is I'm super excited about is the worst named shoe of all time. It's the Hoka Cielo X1 2.0, which is you've got to ask questions, have you, about that naming protocol? But Hoka Cielo X1 was one of my favourite shoes of last year. I think anyone else who've run it have loved it. Incredibly bouncy, really fun, a tad heavy. And now they've brought the weight right down, the second version, by all accounts. They've changed the cutout to move it to the other side of the shoe to hopefully increase stability. I was talking to Hoka about this a little bit as well. I think they've changed the plate shape a little bit. So if it can retain the incredibly bouncy, fun feeling of the first one while making it lighter, I think that's going to be a really, really top choice for marathon racing in particular, but races in general. And I think that's definitely the race shoe I'm most excited about. Intrigued to see if we get a new Vaporfly 4 and what exactly they do with it, Nike, because the 3 wasn't universally well received. You guys didn't like it that much, I think. I liked it, but the Alphafly seems like before there was lots of different choices, I think, between Vaporfly and Alphafly. I think the Alphafly 3 is pretty much the choice for most of Nike's elites now, so it'll be interesting to see if the Vaporfly 4 changes that a bit. But I've got a couple of others, but I'll let you guys pick them because those are the two that are top of my mind.
Yeah. Go on then, Kieran, what have you got for race shoes?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's one that we've been waiting for a while, or it feels like it, since the first gen came out, and it was a bit of a shoe that divided opinion, but the Saucony Endorphin Elite 2 looks really interesting. Not everyone liked it. I used it for quite a lot of sort of big races. I did the Comrades in it. I did a long kind of ultra in a tunnel in it. But I guess the big news is a foam that I first heard about a couple of days ago, which is the Incredi Run foam.
Incredi Run.
which is I don't know, the name, it just sounds like it sounds sort of gimmicky, but apparently incredibly soft and incredibly bouncy. And from what I've seen on the videos, the most amazing thing about this is just how far this foam squeezes down. If you do that kind of finger squeeze thing that people do with their shoes, it kind of goes right down and then returns. It's going to be still got a full length kind of slotted carbon plate. They've now changed one thing which I think did divide opinion, which was the uppers were quite fiddly and fussy on the old Endorphin Elites. They've made them a little bit more simplified, and they've got an integrated tongue now, so you're going to get like a bit more of a sort of booty fit, which I think should make them feel a bit more comfortable overall. But it sounds to me like they're going to be softer and much more bouncy.
Have you seen them in person?
I've just seen them on videos. Yeah,
I've held them. I've squished them, and I mean,
it's unreal.
Remember when I talked about the Balos when we first heard about it, and I got a feeling that it was going to be the perfect shoe for me. I think the Endorphin Elite 2 is going to be my race shoe of choice. I've a love-hate relationship with the Endorphin Elite 1. It's got like a few PBs in that shoe, way beyond what I expected to get in the races. I think it's a fast shoe, but I don't find it very comfortable. I think I think this may be my shoe of the year if it's if it's.
I think it might stray too soft. Like, just judging, it looks so soft, and I know some people who have tried an early version. They're a little bit scared of it because it's so soft, and I guess that makes it a little bit wobbly. But if it returns in the right direction, then it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, Tom's going to lose his mind if it's as soft as it looks.
Well, I need a new soft bouncy race shoe.
Why? You're not doing marathons anymore, mate. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I can still use it for half marathons if I want. I'm going to end up signing up to a marathon in August.
As soon as you feel how soft this shoe is, you're going to sign up to like an ultra. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that is one that I am very excited to test out. For me, one shoe that I wouldn't say I'm excited about it. I would be if it comes out like I wanted to, but the Saucony Endorphin Pro 5, because that Pro 3 is one of my favourite running shoes of all time. Didn't really like the 4 very much, so I'm really interested to see what they do with the 5, and if they shift it a little bit more towards what people expected from the earlier version.
Yeah, I think the other one we should call out is Brooks finally moving to Piba foams next year with a Piba version of the current shoe, which I think comes out quite early in the year, and then the all new Hyperion Elite 5 will have a redesign with this. So, I mean, they are, I think, now the last brand to move across to Piba foams for race shoes, or at least, an equivalent very soft, springy foam. So maybe, because I think when we did our carbon shoes this year, every brand pretty much has caught up and is in a similar level now in terms of quality, except maybe Under Armour and Brooks. So maybe Brooks will be joining the pack with a redesigned shoe.
All right, let's have a look at trainers and super trainers. So that's sitting under the race day shoes. What are we excited about?
So I've got one. I love the Brooks Hyperion Max 2. I found it like a really nice sort of versatile shoe to run. And again, I did a lot of different sort of runs and races in it. I'm quite excited to look at the Hyperion Max 3. And again, they've basically added a bit of a bigger stack height. It might change. I'm a little bit worried because I quite like the fact that it wasn't overkill on the last shoe. And you've now got DNA Gold, Piba-based midsole foam as a top layer. You're going to have DNA Flash, which is in V2 in the old shoe in the bottom layer, keeping Piba-Back's plate, but they've kind of changed the geometry as well. And it's mainly they've got a massive, they've actually added quite a lot of extra stack to it. So it may well change that, which I'm a little bit worried about, but it might make it a bit more of a lively shoe for a daily trainer, put it into that kind of super trainer territory where the other one was, maybe a little bit dull for some people's liking compared to shoes like the Super Blast or whatever. So I think that one could be interesting. I think Brooks could have a really interesting year this year.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, big year for Brooks because they're bringing the DNA tuned foam from the Glycerin Max into a few other shoes as well, right? So be interesting to see. New foams across the board. I think I'm very excited about the Hoka Mach X3, which basically looks like the same shoe, but with a less fiddly heel design, which I think will make it. That was my shoe of the year pretty much this year. I didn't mind the heel, but a slightly more comfy heel for what is a training shoe really will be great. Looking forward to that in the super trainer realm for sure.
Anything else?
Well, are we talking just fast trainers or super? Is that the plan here? Or?
I think we just lump them together, fast trainers, super trainers.
Not going to get diagrams, are we, Tom? Or?
No, this is a relaxed chat. This is a relaxed chat. What's the Saucony Endorphin trainer?
Yeah, that looks... It's weird, that, isn't it? Because that looks like almost a redesigned Kinvara Pro, kind of. I don't know. It feels like a shoe that doesn't... I mean, they already have the Endorphin Speed. I'm not exactly
It's going to replace the Kinvara Pro, right?
Is it? Okay.
I think so.
And there's a Kinvara Pro 2, I thought, coming out.
There's too many Kinvara Pros, isn't there?
Yeah.
We need one.
But it's got like a half carbon... It's got like a half carbon plate as well, I think, in the forefoot. So it's got a slightly different...
That's what the Kinvara Pro did as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I
don't know where that sort of slots in, but...
Hoka have redesigned some, made big changes to stuff like the Clifton as well. It looks like fairly high drop, which would be... Because Hoka is basically across the board 5mm, more or less, except the yellow, I think. But Clifton's going up a little bit. And
more stack, right?
Yeah, more stack. I think that's good in a way, because there is a Skyflow in the Mac, and they're a bit more different now, I think, because the Skyflow felt just like a better Clifton, very similar, but with a nicer foam. And the Bondi's getting a supercritical foam, so it'll be interesting to see how that feels, because that was not a shoe we were huge fans of in the past.
Well, let me throw another one at you, Nick. The Mizuno Neo Vista 2. Excited about that one?
I am excited about that, but they've also released another one that just very recently, right? That's,
the race shoe.
No, not the race shoe. There's another Neo Vista style shoe that's like
there?
a little bit less aggressive, and it feels like they're now packing that area a bit too tightly with shoes. But I mean, Neo Vista was more or less like a perfect reintroduction of Mizuno to that area, I think. So I don't know. I don't know what they'll do with that. I mean, the new race shoe, I'm annoyed by a little bit because it's like 60mm stack height, just slightly away from where they measure it, and that is out of hand, isn't it?
That's one thing when you look across all these shoes, and even from road to trail as well. It does feel like we're now in a world where 40 is small, or we're getting there. It feels like everything's pushing now. Across all of the shoes, the stack heights have gone higher and higher.
Eventually, the training shoes will be better than the legal racing shoes, and where will we be then?
I don't know. It's a serious point. If you, even from the tests that we've been doing recently, where I've gone from like a Nova Blast 5 and back into something like a Supernova Rise 2, which has got some, you just really feel it. And I do worry, like there's a bit of that where none of the more traditional shoes might exist. It feels like they're all being kind of.
Well, even the Rise 2 is nearly 40, isn't it?
Yeah, but it feels more, that now feels more traditional compared to a lot of the others, you know.
Well, some of them, even when they're really big, don't feel great. Like Nova Blast to me doesn't feel like a 42mm shoe. It feels relatively normal compared to some of them. But then the Pegasus Premium feels so high at 40, 2 more millimeters. So it's.
I think we're getting used to being on the higher stacks as well, though. Now I've noticed, back in the day that would have been it would have felt like a big shoe to me. And when I flick back to something. It isn't quite. It does. I do notice, but
all right. Well, let's other ones that in this category that might appear. You'd assume that there would be another version. Asics Magic Speed 5.
Well, we didn't test the 4, did we?
No. So hopefully we'll get to test this.
There's been lurky rumours online, around the forums. I love a good forum about Asics going for a Pro Evo style shoe. As in a very, very lightweight, mostly focused on elite style shoe, which is a development I am very against, and I'll be really unhappy if brands start doing that more often, where there's shoes that basically people can't really access, and they're too expensive or they're not really out there. So if it's on general sale and it's not a silly price, fine, make a crazy light shoe that doesn't last very long, like people don't have to buy that. I think I wouldn't buy that, but some people want to. But if it's just a case of you can't run in the shoes that elites run in, which would probably be pretty much the first time in running history that's been the case, that'll be a shame, won't it?
Amazing marketing from Adidas, though, in the last few releases of shoes based on the existence of the Pro Evo.
Well, I don't get it because people obviously love the Adios Pro 4, and it probably is the more suitable shoe for most people. But as a keen amateur, I would never go and get that shoe because, well, that's not their best shoe. So I'll go to a brand that is selling their best shoe, like the Alpha Fly or the normal Speed, because I don't want to feel second best. Yeah.
I got a race shoe for you, Tom.
Go on.
Which is one that we haven't done. Actually, this is another brand that I think is going to be interesting to watch. I know, Nick, you tested some. I haven't tested their recent shoes, but got the Cloud Boom Max.
Yeah, that looks fun. They're bringing their Pila phone to a bit more stuff, right?
Yeah, and that's an interesting one because it's a shoe that's it's not carbon plated. They've gone back to having what do they call it? Their speed board.
Yeah.
They've got a slightly more flexible speed board, but it's going to be a big stack of Pebax foam, and they're basically aiming this at people who run marathons in 4-5 hours, but they say that it's going to have like a super shoe feel for the 4 and 5 hour marathon runner. So that's,
I never like when people say that. That's never come across well in shoes I've tested.
I don't need it.
Yeah, it's like I think people who run marathons in those time are using super shoes, and I think they're doing perfectly fine. So they're asking for a lot of money for a substandard shoe sometimes.
But I think it's an interesting one because they sort of say this is going to be like the super shoe dream for those people, and they've got it from going and watching lots of people run those times at marathons and observe them and see that they're maybe not moving as well as they might do in a shoe.
They still differ massively in how they move, right? But all those people don't have the same running style. This is exactly what Salomon said with the Spectre, which was just basically a super trainer with the price of a super shoe.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll pull it off. I mean, I'm really excited by the On Cloud Boom Zone as well. I think that's going to be. We haven't tested that yet. That's kind of been out, but I think that'll be a pretty fun shoe. If this Cloud Boom Max is the Cloud Monster Hyper, what I wanted from that, like a full Piva kind of midsole, that'd be great.
All right. Well, now you completely messed up the system. Then we might as well mention the Hocker Rocket 3 if that's going to appear next year.
This is just a vague speculation from a website, right, Tom? Because there's no sign of this yet or anything.
No, I mean a lot of these ones we haven't got confirmation, and I should caveat that now and at the end of the video and the podcast that we're not confirming that these are going to be released. We're talking about rumors. Some of them you may have seen. Some of them are like the Texas running show, but yes, a lot of these are speculation, and we're not confirming release dates or anything.
Yeah, we haven't got any scoops here to give you, I'm afraid.
Yeah. So the Hocker Rocket X3, if that does appear, I never tested out the 2, so I'm assuming that's quite an exciting shoe.
Well, it wasn't at the Texas show, was it? And they did have most of the Hoka shoes into next year, so I guess it maybe won't. But
and then Adidas Takumi Sen 11. That might be nice.
Yeah, that'd be. Adidas often go on a 2-year cycle. I mean, there should be a new Boston, right? That would be great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything like this. What I'd love next year is a real Super Blast competitor.
I was just going to say Super Blast stuff. Yeah.
I don't think there'll be a Super Blast necessarily itself because they often, I don't know, they release it right at the end of the year if they do it, don't they? They tend to. But lots of brands have come out with Mega Stack, with great foams, and they've all ended up being more like the Hoka Skyward X than the Super Blast. Heavy, cruisy, big fun, daily trainers. No one see. I mean, the Super Blast is lighter than most of the plated super trainers we test. It's a pretty incredible combo. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone can really have a go at that.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's move on from the faster shoes and let's start talking a bit more about the world of cushioned and daily shoes. There's one that's probably going to be quite exciting for you that might be appearing next year, Nick. Can you guess what that is?
Pure Velocity Nitro 4?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because that was that last time they only released that right at the start of this year, didn't they? The Velocity Nitro 3. Yeah. I mean, yeah. That'd be good. I'm not sure. I'm not seeing anything on it yet, so I don't know. As long as I don't mess with it too much.
Well, it's been so far. It's been a pretty consistent line, hasn't it? Some changes to versions being released, but
like Kieran said, that's still 36 odd millimeters, so that will now feel like a low shoe.
Yeah. Okay. Any other cushioned or daily cushion shoes we're excited about?
Interesting to see if they resurrect the Triumph after what we did not enjoy that one this year.
Oh, yeah.
What about I saw something I don't have any detail to share on it, but I know you guys enjoyed the Hurricane, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be. I think there's an update for that one coming as well. So
there's got to be.
Yeah, that's under 40 millimeters, and that feels like a massive shoe. That was a really big, pleasant surprise this year. Just a really enjoyable cruiser. Probably one of my favourite cruisers of the whole year.
Well, I was say this about the Hurricane. I didn't actually know it existed before we tested the this year's version. So the fact that it's such a long line of shoes was really surprising. But you'd assume that from a shoe that's got 26 versions already, there will be another version next year.
Yeah, it'll be. I think I did see something about this, but I can't remember what changes they make. But I guess it was quite a drastic change this year, so you assume most they won't change it too much. The Nova Blast 6 will obviously go back to being quite firm, so that'll be every year they change that, they flip-flop.
Yeah, it's a funny one, the Nova Blast range, isn't it? It does actually change quite a bit, whereas it doesn't have a lot of consistency, which makes it good for us because it makes it more fun to review something that's changed a little bit. But anything else in the cushioned world, the daily shoe world?
Well, I mentioned already the Bondi going to a full supercritical foam will be interesting. It'll basically be a Mac Stack Skyflow or Mac 6. So I'm interested to see how that feels.
Mm-hmm.
That should be
Brooks Glycerin 22. I've seen that's out, isn't it? Or some people have got that.
People have got that in America. That's got the midsole from the Glycerin Max.
Okay.
But I assume it's slightly lower stack. So that should be quite nice, I think.
I've had a little run in that, but
right.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Yeah, well, I did a little. Just up and down outside in a car park.
You had little Chatterbrooks in you,
Yeah, so it's. I guess I'm allowed to say if it's.
Set your car park PB, did you? Or?
I ran the longest I've ever run in a car park.
Kieran ran a 2-minute mile in this year.
But I think it will bring if the Glycerin lacked a bit of life, this one might come to life a bit more. I think.
Okay. No idea if it's getting released, but the Ride 18, if that appears, that'd be an exciting one for us.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I like the rides, but yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I've seen somebody already put that out there.
Oh, really? I saw something on the guide for sure. So they usually come together, don't they?
Yeah.
We should probably know more about it. That's our job.
It's a bit like the surprise when it all appears.
Yeah, it's true. Also, we're in the UK. We get stiffed a bit on some shoes. Occasionally, we get stuff ahead of the US, which is quite nice, but it's very much occasionally.
Yes, yeah. And then there's probably going to be updates to shoes like the Kayano range. There's always an update to that every year, isn't there?
Well, we've got the Nimbus in, so what have they done to the Nimbus? Slightly higher stack height, mostly the same. They'll do the same with the Kayano, I guess.
Okay. What shoes am I missing?
Trail.
Trail? Yeah, let's do trail. Kieran, what trail shoes? What would you be excited about?
Only if you're ready, Tom. Only if you're ready. I don't want to.
I just hadn't thought about trail shoes, so I'm shocked. I'm not got any prep for it. So go for it.
There's one that I've kind of seen it on videos from the running event, and that's the North Face Summit Vective Pro 3.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they put more names in the names to make it easier for them. But yeah, so you've got like a nitrogen infused PEEB midsole, but there's a dual carbon plate system, which is interesting. So they've got one carbon plate at the bottom, which is supposed to give the kind of the speed and propulsion, and they've got like another sort of cage. There's like a drop-in insert and then a cage that sits across the top, which then is supposed to provide the stability. So they're trying to do this kind of dual system so you can have speed and stability on the trail. It's going to be fascinating to see how that if that actually works out, and because it's like another big old sort of stacked shoe for the trail, probably along the lines of the Meta Fuji and those kind of things where we're getting higher volume. But how that runs will be interesting.
Problem I think the second version was actually the wing on the side rubbing. The wing on the carbon plate actually rubs, so hopefully that's because that I quite enjoyed the ride of it, but yeah, I mean you don't want that in a shoe you're meant to be running long distances in.
And then there's Hoka Mafati 5, which I've not actually run in the Mafati for a long time, I don't think, but they've done something which they're basically going to flip the foams around. So normally you would have the firmer foam on the bottom, right, and the softer foam on the top. They're going to flip it the other way, so you've got the softer foams on the bottom and the firmer foam on the top. The idea is that this can almost like absorb the trail, so it's kind of mold itself or deform as you hit bits of the trail, so you don't feel the lumps and bumps.
That's got a high drop as well, is it? Or higher drop than the usual for Hoka?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, again, they're all added. So
very interesting, given that so much of the industry has spent the last 5-10 years moving towards the shoes that Hoka originally brought, the kind of low drop rocket shoes. And now Hoka is moving towards the high drops that everyone else was doing. It's intriguing to see what will happen, the momentum and patterns we see in the running shoe world, except Nike with this resolutely 10mm drops with no rockers, always the same.
So I suppose there might be new versions of the Tecton out next year. That came out. It's around a lot of the trail shoes release around UTMB, don't they now?
Yeah, especially the big races.
Yeah, so we might see a new one of those. Do you want to keep the Gator on it?
I didn't mind the Gator, actually, I have to say.
Yeah,
I don't need it because I nearly was running in it's more kind of like grassy and stuff. It's not really like rocks and stuff, but didn't mind it.
Just been looking through possible shoes, but I mean, there's nothing really on a trail side. I'm not really that excited about anything. Maybe another of those. What's that one I like? The Asics Meta Fuji Trail Max or whatever it's called.
Gel Trabuco or
Gel Trabuco. That's it. Yeah, getting me stuck with the. I still haven't tried the More Trail. Need to get hold of that. Anything else on the trail world that you're excited about?
The road trail world. There's only one name in the road trail world right now, and that's the Morphlight. But I can't imagine there'll be a Morphlight 2.
But they wouldn't need
What
to.
would you do with it? What would you do with it? Exactly. Yeah. So
just different colours. Just need new colours of it.
That's true. Yeah. Just bring out more colours. Keep reducing. It's already incredibly reasonable price.
Nice. All right. Well, I think that probably covers us with most of the stuff that's coming up that we hope is coming up, or we've heard rumours about on the internet. We'll hopefully get to test a lot of those shoes, and they will appear in 2025.
Another fun year, hopefully. Another big year on the channel. Lots of fun stuff to come.
Well, in advance, or depends when people are listening to this. Happy New Year!
Oh, Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
Catch you later, guys.
Catch you on the flippy flip, Tom.
Oh, God.